And so next up, we are going to talk about what's a really important part of running an engaged service, which is managing your consumer experience. And we've got Peter here from Keywords, who's going to talk about the hidden profit center in your midst, moving from customer support to customer engagement. Peter, I love seeing you. Over to you.
Thank you. We're getting started early.
Go for it.
Let folk come in, let folk come out, grab a seat, everyone. We've got a few minutes here. We're starting a little early. Going to be a difficult act to follow, that one, and obviously all the devs have left because they don't care about customer support, and only the people that care about customer support and making it work are here. But as I said, it looks like some folk want to come in, so we'll give it a second. Talking about can cook a mean lasagna. If you do ask for the recipe, I'll have to kill you because it's a family secret. So we'll look at that going forward. Thanks. Come in, grab a seat. Right, just about us very quickly. We're all over the world. You'll find us wherever you need us, and we're there to help. Just reach out, and there's any part of the game you're looking at, Keywords can help. I'm not going to spend your time on that. It's not about selling. It's about informing and telling you what we're doing. And really moving from customer support to customer engagement. It's often overlooked. We're finding a colleague is just down the road over there for Netflix talking about what he does for customer support, and it's quite amazing how we've been using a lot of stuff to make things happen. But it's always seen as a cost center, and it's always stuck in a corner, and a lot of people in customer support feel like mushrooms, and they're stuck in a corner, it's dark, and they're fed bullshit. So we really want to show you how, if you just do a few simple things, you really can move to engagement. It's really critical. A lot of money. Previous guy was talking about how you can make music, generate content, all this cool stuff. Someone's got to support and look after that and make sure that things don't go wrong. And so really what you really want to do is, why do you want to do this? Because it boosts the meaningful interactions. You really, in 20 minutes, we're going to go, I could really spend 3-4 hours doing this and bore the hell out of you. But we really want to do this quickly. And it's all about how do you drive. So everyone's talking about monetization, and everyone's talking about the next best thing. And there's thousands of booths out there telling you how to monetize. And every one of your players is getting bored and totally pissed off with you. And yet, engagement can monetize better than anything and look a little empty. Kind of surprising, eh? Because that's exactly what we always find, is that if you don't look at where you can actually talk to your customer and engage with your customer, you can actually monetize a lot better. So, especially around creating the brand awareness in games, the more you create ambassadors, the better. So I'll let this build out, but we call it the player happiness infinity loop. How do you keep your players engaged in the game and spending time becoming ambassadors, playing the game? Because if they play more, they spend more. And the situation, quite simply, is you have to create the environment. It's got to be a safe environment that they feel safe coming into, that they're happy to bring their friends, they're happy to build the communities around, and to support that, you need to have that player envelope of trust and safety. In the middle of that, you've got to look at all of the compliance that's coming. How do you protect privacy? How do you protect that they're not going to get, bullied and hacked in the community, et cetera, et cetera. And so all of that relies on the platform you build. But if you're going to have to do that anyway, because compliance is coming with the Digital Privacy Act, there's already GDPR, there's already all the DPAs that have to be signed, you better actually look at how you can actually turn that into a monetization strategy. And that's exactly what we do in terms of balancing the cost efficiency with the quality and the player engagement. So how do you keep that player happiness loop running for infinity? And effectively, it's a modern support journey. It's infused with AI. AI, unfortunately, is part of our lives. We've been using it for quite a long time. We just never called it AI. We called it smart intents or bots, but we've actually been working with this for quite some time. Keywords owns Helpshift as a platform, for example. There's a ton of them out there. And basically, you need to look at, doesn't matter what channel your players are talking to each other on or talking to you on, you have to be able to take them through a guided journey in which you learn more about them and you help them as quickly and as efficiently as possible, but you proactively engage them. And so you notice that all the way along, you're looking for the feedback loop. You're looking to see how can you link back to the player and give something that's of value. It's not about trying to always sell. It's not always about trying to, push something down their throats. It's more around how do you learn more about who the player is, he or she, what they want, and what can you do in adding the value, which then engages with them. So that whole modern journey we talk about some fundamentals. A very, very good book recently came out, Hidden Profit Center. I suggest you get it. You can get it on Amazon. It's the 5 A's. I'm going to run through this very quickly because time doesn't allow me to go into the detail. But it's all around simple things. All of you have been on a flight recently, or then I recently had to come from South Africa via Limassol to here over 2 events. And when I had to change my flight to come home on Saturday instead of Sunday, things went horribly wrong. And when I reached out to support, because you couldn't fix it online, this cannot be changed online, please call the contact center. I gave my story. I was quite frustrated. I really felt pissed off, to be quite honest. And the person just said, can I have your email? There was no acknowledgement. There was no, I'm terribly sorry. I understand customer support. They need my email to be able to help me to find out who I am, and that's the thing they need. But instead of, I'm so sorry this has happened, let me help you. If we work together, we can get this problem solved. If you let me have your email, I can find a solution for you. That's all it would have taken. It's acknowledgement. So I'm going to run through these. These are all available. As I said, time's limiting, but I wanted to talk about the framework, because about engaging proactively is the difference between moving from a cost center to that profit center. So you need to acknowledge. We need to then align, just make sure we're talking about the right things. Quite often, we're driving our agents and we're driving our setup to focus on productivity and getting through and 10 cases an hour, and there's no alignment with what actually is being asked. So you really need to understand the clarity of what the customer is asking. You can't say, the game broke. Is that what they're really asking? Is it that something happened that they didn't get? Let's just align and take some time. Assist. Make sure that the assessment actually happens. Quite often, customer support doesn't get a result, and then you're not engaging or getting the feedback or being able to proactively add the value. So you need to provide options. It's not just solve the problem or press a button or give an FAQ. It's really engaging. Advising. This is where you really change the difference between a cost center to a profit center. Small little things. If we know an event is coming up, why can't there be an extra 3 seconds or 4 seconds on the call? Hey, thanks, solved your problem today. And again, as I said, when I call, it's live chat, it's asynchronous chat, it's any kind of channel. I'm just old school when I say call, so forgive me. Just be aware, in 3 days' time, an event's coming up. It'd be really great, seeing that you're in active play, it's really great if you jumped on that, because you get a whole lot of stuff. Little proactive value pieces that can come in that just change the whole experience, because they didn't just get something and then move on. They became valuable to the person helping them, and they feel valued and acknowledged. But you've got to be careful. You can only do it so much. You've got to make sure all of the CFOs always still think of this as a cost center. They look at the monthly spend and they come down on you like a ton of bricks if you're going over. So it has to be a balanced approach with this advice. And then ask. We don't do that. If you're going to drive an engaged cost to profit process, you need to ask and engage with your clients. You need to ask for revenue, ask for action, ask for information, and ask to create awareness. And these are there's a ton of questions. Again, as I said, in the 20 minutes, we can't dig in deep, but the 5 A's are the foundation of shifting the mindset of how you set your support up to being more engaged with exactly the same processes you're running now. The bonus 6th A, all on me. I worked with Brett when he put the book together. I'm one of the ones that helped put it out there, not for gain, but I spoke to him and I said, why didn't you put this in the book? So well, it's not really my area of expertise, but I'm telling you that everything's around data, around monetization. Everyone in all of the booths here are all talking about the data. What are you doing to analyze the data that you've got in your system? You'd be surprised how much is happening in the customer support space and how much it can be utilized in an intelligent way to drive further engagement. So that's the bonus A on the 5 A's. Whether we like it or not, it's a fact. Gartner and Forrester said in 2014, 2015, I smile and chuckle about it all day long. Hey guys, by 2018, 2019, 80% of all customer support is going to be done by AI. How wrong they were. They're not wrong about AI, they were just wrong about the timing. It is a factor. We're seeing it already grow. We're seeing all of our competitors on the platforms we provide have now got AI solutions and generative AI and all sorts of processes built in. Is it working properly? No. Will it work? Yes. Is it starting to add value? Definitely. So thinking about how you incorporate this process is going to also drive your cost containment and add a huge amount of value to how you can engage the customer without making them angry. I was going to say pissing them off, but making them angry. And also then seeing how you can actually then utilize the agents for far better valuable services, like advice, like engagement, like proactive outreach in driving engagement, which the company doesn't do outside of any kind of marketing, which is always a one-to-many, and it's never that personal. So it's amazing how you can take your engagement and make it more of a profit center. Okay, everyone got that? This is key. Please, 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 get all the devs that walked out. I wish I could drag them back by the ear and say, hey, when you're designing your game, what is the first question you should ask? And they all say, oh, is it going to be an MMORPG, top-down? No. Who the hell are you building this game for? Who's coming to play the game? And the second question is, when they come to play, how are you going to take care of them? Because that's what's going to make the game successful. And it's so often overlooked. At the whole design UX phase, the whole process, there's no it doesn't cost any money until you get to beta and when you do your soft launches. From then on, you may have to make a bit of investment in people and process. But if you design in, can it be in-game? Can it be proactive? Can it link into the events? How do we reach the customers en masse from the process? You are containing and building from the day one an engagement process rather than a customer support process. We're about to launch in 6 weeks, we may need a few agents to answer a few questions, which has been traditionally how people still go about it. So it's critical that you get deeper in the design phase and thinking about how you're going to care, especially with digital privacy and stuff coming these days. It's not going to be a nice to have, it's a must to have. Insights-driven performance. It's not about spying on agents and beating them up for not doing a great job. It's about really understanding what's going on and then being able to adjust, because this is where you can really drive engagement to the next level. In the real-time performance metrics, you can already start to see trends which you can get ahead of. If you're seeing 5 or 6 or 7 issues come in that are similar around a bug in the game, you can immediately link it. If you've set up your engagement correctly, it immediately flags to the devs. It starts saying there's something going on here, and it immediately allows you to proactively put out stuff into your communities and stuff. We're aware there's a challenge, we're working on it, thanks for your concern, don't worry, we'll let you know what's going on. It reduces the amount of time they come and waste your time in your system by asking 5,000 people sending you the same ticket, the game's broken, you already know that. These are the kinds of things you get massive response out, and it's small adjustments. Everything I've spoken about so far is a micro adjustment in how you think about putting the support process together rather than reinventing the whole process. Okay, self-help built in the game. We just launched a thing called Widget, but this is going to be more and more an option. You'll see, not just from us, but from competitors. They'll never be as good as us, though. I have to say that, right? I'm paid to do so. In-game, no matter what platform, the ability to give a seamless, exactly the same experience, whether on mobile, whether on console, whether on web, whether on PC, and it's easy for your agents then, because they're also getting a seamless experience with the customer in terms of how to provide that. And it just pops up and it's there. They never have to leave their environment. You get them back to playing, engaged, and being ambassadors and spending more time and more money in the game. Let's see, there we go. We've done a lot of this and it's working really well. It's still, again, AI not perfect, but if you're transparent and you're showing this to your players, your core team are now trained for gameplay. They're trained for the environment. They're trained for the community. They're trained around what it is to be the gamer. They are gamers. So you can have them housed. You don't have to geographically hire for language or geographically hire. Yes, there are definitely cultural differences, but you deal with that in community and you deal with it in other ways. Support is about efficiently resolving an issue and getting the player back to playing. If you're transparent and say, we do this to help you better, it's not going to be perfect and work with us, they're okay with that, accepting certain cultures. For example, Japanese, you still kind of have to have Japanese people do Japanese support. They're it's one of the part of the culture, and so this doesn't work everywhere, and it doesn't work perfectly in all languages, but it certainly makes a massive difference to managing the cost, but driving a much higher engagement. And you can give 24/7 support to all languages without having to have that language built into your team. Sentiment analysis. Wouldn't it be nice? We do this, but we do this after the fact. What's happening in the community? What's happening with things that are going on around us? How about whilst live in a ticket, you can start tracking if the ticket's turning or churning on the agent, and it can be flagged. Hey, this is going south. Do something. And you can solve and engage more importantly at that point in time. Pretty easy to do after 2 or 3 questions. Which way is the engagement going? We have been testing this in beta. Again, I have to be honest, AI is not quite there. Sometimes it goes horribly wrong and it starts giving you stupid answers, but that's how it learns and that's how it grows, and this is definitely an area where you're going to see a lot more of AI helping and assisting agents. Again, we're not trying to replace humans, we're trying to make the humans' lives better, both for the agent and for the player, so there's engagement and better response. And then the last part, and that's why I rushed to get to here, you're missing a massive trick in that in the VIP concierge and VIP outreach space, the customer support, moving to customer experience is the biggest opportunity to grow. Zing is a fantastic example. We've been working with a lady called Gemma. She used to work there and she built that department single-handedly, came from the gambling world. Zing is known as the gold standard for VIP growth and revenue. And over the 7 to 12 years, she built out a system. There's now a platform that's been built called Surge ROI, which we work exclusively with. And on top of that, you have to provide specifically trained humans. It's very easy to do. We can help with that process, but it is a process. But you can get a 7% revenue lift off your top spenders by proactively managing an outreach process from your customer support. Just in this alone, you can 5 times pay for your customer support cost and shift from a cost to a profit center and keep every CFO happy and have everything you need to do better with community management, trust and safety, outreach, etc. Because think about a 7% uplift across your top spenders. It's massive money that's waiting there, and that's usually what we guarantee in the program. So what does it take? It takes a platform that integrates to your CRM, ours being HelpShift, of course. The VIP marketing process, it's specifically for the events you're going to be running for the outreach so that the customer is reached exactly as that player is needed to be reached. It's very, very data-driven, and it requires quite a lot of setup, but it is worth investment. So it will take investment, but there is a guaranteed return, and this is an area where you can take all of your cost center challenges that you have with any CFOs and turn it into a profit center as a customer care manager or a customer experience manager. Happy to talk about that all day long with you. So these are the key, just in summarization before we get to questions and answers, these are the key areas that you need to integrate and make sure they're all on the same level, that there's triage from Discord to customer support, that you are talking to the various communities if it's on Facebook or TikTok or wherever they are playing. There's learning and development to drive how you look at your customers and how you keep your agents up to date, especially in a live ops environment. The game is forever changing. You can't expect agents, if you don't help them and you don't support them and you don't grow the environment, to be able to stay engaged with the customers. They'll fall behind and customers get very quickly, players get very quickly upset. Quality of service, you've got to check that you're actually meeting the metrics you set. So you've got to have that integrated. Technology platforms, as I said, there's a ton of them out there. Obviously, I've spoken about HelpShift as one. It does play a role. It carries a lot of data. A lot of data is not being utilized by customer care centers to be able to see what's going on. And then, of course, your trust and safety, privacy, data analytics, and the customer support are all part of the whole process. You have all of this mostly anyway. Most of you have 90% of this in place if you're building a decent, or you're doing some kind of customer support in a live ops environment. It's a question of how do you apply the 5 A's, how do you integrate these systems, and how do you spend just a little bit of time and money to turn it from a cost center to a profit center. And those are the things we'd love to talk to you about. But again, a lot of what I've said is common sense if you just take the time to think about how you can shift things just slightly. So, any questions? I got through it in time. Get you to your next one. Yes?
Bring the mic over to you.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Claire. So I work with a lot of small studios, so not like Zynga. So I'm really curious, how do you cover yourself as a founder using those AI services in case it goes wrong and it goes, of course, some answers that are not legally acceptable, for instance?
So that's a great question. And again, the process is the same whether you have 3 agents and a small system to scalable. And in fact, if you don't build it correct from small, it's never scalable. So the answer simply is, it's how you apply things. You can't just throw a few agents on, put a system in and hope it works. You do actually, even if you're small, have to put all these things in place. The beauty of it is, even if you're small, a lot of it isn't costing you money, it's costing time. is just about putting it together correctly time-wise. Time is money, but it does take some time. But you can put, and it never has to scale, it can stay small, but it'll always be compliant. What often happens is someone throws a CRM in, starts answering tickets, puts a few agents in, there's no linking or APIs, and there isn't the thought process behind the compliance piece. That's really the only difference. So it's actually quite simple to do. It just does take some time. Hopefully that answers your question.
I think one of the points is that this is a problem that's been solved many, many times. And in fact, one of my favorite things the last couple of GDCs and Gamescom is the event that Peter and his team and his colleagues at Helpshift have done, the Community Clubhouse, where we've had free reign just to talk about this stuff and to share kind of like, you know, this is what we do with live ops. This is how we make sure we maintain players. That's been an absolute kind of, you know, eye-opening moment to be able to actually have those conversations openly. So, you know, it's sort of worth mentioning that. One last quick question, if anyone's got one. On that note, I will say thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you, everybody.
Great stuff. So.